later stuff if you need, or Hutch can help you out, whatever wish, whatever you want to wish. All right,
Sounds good.
so awesome. Futures. We kind of knew this. There's no surprise. 40-60, 40-40. We know that. We've been looking for that for quite a while, and we got that today. Uh, because the momentum they pushed, a little further down, but this is what exactly that is happening right now, right? So futures hit that to a T 40-33, whatever this number is. It hit that and bounced. No surprises. We've been looking for that since last week. It should have happened last week itself. But for whatever the reason, people don't understand the price needs to hit a certain level. They keep buying it and the stocks keep pushing up and down. But eventually it will go down to wherever it needs to go down to, or to the upside, wherever it needs to go down to until it reaches a technical level. This is just how it works because this is what institutions look at, right? Institutions don't go by this. I mean, institutions don't go by this. Institutions could care less about any of this 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, but this is what institutions are looking for. So you, don't matter what you try, don't matter how you try, you cannot outrun institutions. It is what it is. It is just the way it is. So now what? This is where confusion, or this is where uncertainty comes into picture. Why? Because now it has hit a level that it needs to bounce off of. We know this thing. Now, will it bounce? Won't it bounce? It should bounce, ideally speaking, but so will it bounce or not? That's the question. Regular markets, it should bounce because you have a gap here. It has left its five, so it hits a major moving average. It bounces and catches up, at least in the center, or at least somewhere in the average between to the upside and to the downside. Somewhere here, 41, 40, somewhere it should catch up with that. Or if the bounce is more profound, then it should go into its five, which is sitting at 41.76, and catch up with that five. Right now, not looking for that. Right now, definitely not looking for that. Why? There are many issues with that. Why? And now, let's say what happens now. If it breaks here, what is to the downside? Simply open up the monthly chart. This is what you're looking for to the downside, and this will happen. I don't doubt that at all. 4009 right now it is hitting this lower Bollinger Band on the regular candles. If that breaks below, we are looking for a test of 4009. I don't believe 4009 it will stop there. If it comes down in there, it should go back down into 4000. Just it's a round number, that's the reason. And if it breaks there, then we're looking for a push into 3900. Right now, not plotting that. Might happen, but right now, as of where things stand, not really plotting right now. My base case to the downside is 4000. Actually, my base case was this, right? We've been looking for this one, 40, 40, 40, 30 range. We hit that, we pushed up. So let's keep that base case, 40, 30. 40, 30 to 40, 40 range is my base case to the downside. Should that break, a good to have would be 4,000. Should that break, then we're looking for a push into 3,900. And right now, not plotting 3,900, but we will keep a close watch on that below 4,000. Okay, that's futures. And what is to the upside? Upside is, this is where we want to look for the upside on the 1 hour chart, right? And it doesn't matter what happens, we will operate on this chart. This is our bread and butter. So this thing pushes up, getting oversold, and obviously will come up. Hits five, hits eight. If you're good enough, if there's momentum, we're good enough to hit. We are good enough to hit this mean here, 40.75, 40.76. We will take a call after 40.75, right? We will figure out after it clears this number. 4076. So my base case is 40. Let's leave the base case here at 4075. If it clears above that, then we'll look for another push into most likely 4100. Then we'll figure out what to do with that. Right now, let's get into our good friend Bex. So Bex, 10 points, not nothing out of ordinary. Fair enough. And this is not a VIX induced sell-off. We know that. We know that this is not a VIX induced sell-off because to the upside there's not a whole lot of call buying for VIX as such. But VIX is VIX is VIX. It just keeps oscillating between a certain point. Elevated, yes, but troublesome, no. And this push down is not VIX induced. It is not VIX induced push down. This is basically fundamentals and technicals coming together to make this happen. And then let's if it pushes higher, this is what I'm watching for VIX, probably 3550 to 3560 range. And if that clears, 36 is what we're looking for. And if that starts to push down, maybe 31. And there's a good chance of it pushing down actually. 31 is my base case to the downside. And if it pushes below 31, then we will reassess the situation. For now, this is what is happening. Wow, there's a 15-minute chart. Yeah, X is coming down. Got overbought. There was no reason for VIX to be this high. There was no reason. VIX got overbought. It's coming down. Fair enough. And if it can come down, ephemeral bounce. Fair. Okay, we'll get an ephemeral bounce somewhere around here, hitting 21. Then this is where I want VIX to go. 32.77. Probably will take a look at VIX around 32.77. And yeah, this is fairly straightforward stuff. We know this thing, right? The mean is sitting here on the 1 hour, about 32.60, something around that. Maybe we'll get 1 point push down on VIX, or perhaps 75 bips push down on VIX. We'll reassess the situation here. What I mean by that, it is hitting its five here. If the five breaks, then we'll test eight. If the test eight breaks, we'll test the mean. We know this progression, how this goes. If that breaks below there, then we'll look for 21. If that breaks below there, we'll look for this one, right? So, but today is going to be a challenging day for direction. But let's figure out, once the market opens, how VIX behaves based on that. A whole lot of things, we can gauge a whole lot of things just based on VIX. Uh, and by the way, this thing, Bitcoin. We've been looking at Bitcoin downside for quite a bit of time, and we got that finally. And now what? Now this is where, again, this is confusing. Now, I don't believe there is a case for Bitcoin 22 as of now. I just don't believe that. I don't, even if it happens, it's not going to happen in a straight line. You see this? It has left its five here. There's no average holding this thing. So this cannot happen. So unless there's a doji and a push back to the upside into the five, right, like that or like that. So that's what we're expecting here as well. Let's see how deep this pushback goes in, the sell-off, how deep it goes. I'm expecting it to probably, this is getting oversold here. So I'm expecting this thing to come back in, at least test this number. So this is where things get a little confusing, right? So you have hit all the levels that you want to hit, and the next level is way too far below. 10,000 points down on BTC. It's a little it's a little ambitious to look at 10,000 points in a straight line. So I'm expecting this sell off like this, and I'm expecting a green candle somewhere here, and then push back up, and then push back down. That's how I want to see this thing go. We did Apple yesterday, and Apple hit that number to a T right there. Right, this is where Apple is trading, and if Apple breaks below, and this is the number we're looking for, a bounce, 152 area bounce, and this should happen. Oh, and if it bounces here, and if that bounce is an ephemeral bounce, we're looking for a push into 149, and then we're looking for a push into 143.50. This will happen. Not in a straight line, but this will happen. This was set in stone. 153 was set in stone. Whatever this number is, it happened. And if it breaks below there, then we are looking for this number, 152. Move on to Microsoft. And we knew this number was pretty much guaranteed, that 270. Let's go on the monthly. This number was pretty much guaranteed. Now, if it breaks below here, we're looking for 267. 267 breaches. We are looking for a push into 258, this number, right? So after this, I don't know. This would be a pretty meaningful, deeper pullback here. I think market should stabilize once it pulls back into this number. Facebook, I'm still expecting a test of this number again, uh, and that's how I'm gonna play that. There's another one that was, yeah, not looking good. There was another one which was Amazon. Right, Amazon. Now the expectation from Amazon, my expectations are met. In fact, my expectations are exceeded now. 22, my expectations are exceeded. Can we expect it to push into this number, 15.8? I'm not looking for that. I am certainly not looking for a pushback all the way into 15 or 1600. But if it does, I would be a net buyer of this. Now, how do I want to play this? I want to be selling puts. I want to be selling puts. I want to be selling weeklies. If it comes back in, I'll be selling more puts. And this time I'm ready to take a position if it comes all the way here. Will that happen? It remains to be seen. And Rivian is getting screwed, by the way. Rivian is getting screwed. And I think that will continue. All the EVs should continue to get screwed. Now, Tesla, this number was pretty much there, and now it has breached this number, right? We knew this was going to go hit this number, the 50 on the weekly. Now it has breached this number, and it is sitting at the lows from last Monday. And I strongly believe that it's going to go break those levels as well. And this is where it is headed now. The mean, I believe it's going to go test the mean at 800. What happens if it breaks a mean? Then we're looking for a test of this mean. This will be a meaningful bounce here around 785. And just a couple of days back, I was looking at Tesla 750, right? And this was the reason for that. Okay. And I'm still looking for Tesla 750. I am still in the camp that believes that Tesla 750 needs to happen. And that will happen. That will happen. Just a matter of time. In fact, I'm looking at this number here, and this will happen. This will get tested. 712 to 700. This will get tested, and this time around, I don't believe it's going to jump from there. I believe it's going to go all the way here, 690, whatever number this is, and I believe it's going to most likely breach that and push below. I'm not looking for a 400 as of now, but if I am, if I well, I don't want to use I the word, but yeah, this would be a good one. 400 would be a good watch for Tesla. 400 points from here. Yeah, this would be a good point for Tesla to go long. Actually, you can hold Tesla here. And why in the world is that? Just because you have a base case for Netflix, right? So we've known how Netflix went, why Netflix was a high flyer stock, why it came down. We know all of those reasons. Now, with Tesla, the same thing. Tesla did not have any what do you call competition and whatnot. Now the market is filled with Tesla competition. Well, everybody needs Tesla. This is a little different than Netflix story. Everybody needs Tesla to survive, but Tesla needs nobody to survive. Tesla doesn't even need government to survive at this point. Others need Tesla's infrastructure to survive, and others need government to survive. Neo or GM, other ones. They need that infrastructure. They don't really have that infrastructure. So Tesla, generally, Tesla wouldn't need anybody to survive. It can stand on its own. However, the competition is catching up, and so is the reason Tesla needs to actually, come back in to around 400. That's my expectation from Tesla. Will it happen today, next week? I don't believe so, but that's where things will get interesting for Tesla. Most likely, that's where I'll be the net buyer of Tesla instead of trader, investor for that matter. All right, so anybody looking at anything specific? No.
SPX.
Sorry, SPX. Yeah, let's get into SPX. Change window, third screen. All right, so that's my SPX, and I have SPY. 15 minutes. It's pushing up because VIX is pushing down, right? So it got oversold, VIX got overbought. Then this is just a reaction that is happening for 400, from 400 all the way to what, 402 to 406. These moves are insane. These moves are literally insane. This weird moves. But let's see what happens. So 1 hour chart will give us a good understanding. So based on 1 hour chart, expecting this to hit SPY to hit 406.95. So let's say 407. Then we're looking for a push into 407.81. So after that, the mean is sitting at 410. So this is my base case. A hit of 5 on the 1 hour, 407. Let's call it 407. Then a push into 8. Well, let's say that is 407.80, 8, let's say 407.90. That's my good to have. Right now, not plotting anything beyond the mean on the hourly, 410.76. But if it does clear 410.76, then we're looking for a push above into 414. I don't know why the market, why anybody would want to buy the markets, but the technicals are telling you that there's an upside coming in because VIX is kind of pointing down, and this needs to get resolved. Whichever way it gets resolved, right now the VIX is pointing down, and it is hitting. Just now we were talking about it testing the 8. It has tested the 8, and if it breaks below, it will test the mean here. Breaks below the mean, test the 21. This is how it's going to progress. The opposite side of that thing, 5, 8, the mean. This is how it's going to go. Not sure if it's going to go all the way down there, but I mean, there's no reason as such for it to progress that way. uh, I mean, there's no reason for VIX to actually, stay or move higher. There's no reason because there's no uncertainty. We know everything. We know what is coming. We know how recession is going to play out, how the housing market is going to play out, how the interest rate is going to play out. So everybody knows everything. VIX kind of gets irritated because of instability. Right now, there's no unknowns. Everybody knows everything. So that is not a VIX induced sell off. It is just a valuation or the technicals led sell off, right? So there's a difference between that. Now, we don't want to do Qs because Qs would follow generally the same thing. But just in case, let's do Qs. Qs are headed. We did Qs last night, but this is where it is headed. And right about here, 11,800 will need to happen on the Qs. And that did actually, I think that number came close pre-market. Qs went all the way. Wow, Qs are actually here, 302 something. Let's see where the Qs were. Qs
They're
were
at
pushing.
303.36.
That's a low.
Right now, yeah, 303.36 is lowest I've seen it, including
Wow,
pre-market.
wow, wow. Well, that means, yeah, that means I think it has pushed way below. Expecting this Nasdaq to open somewhere around sub 1200. Most likely that's the case, sub 1200. Can't. Then we're looking for a push into 11,800. That's what we're looking for on Nasdaq. Ephemeral bounce, but if I don't know, bounce, definitely a bounce around 11,800. If that bounce it turns out to be an ephemeral bounce, then we are moving into 11,300. Right now, I'm not plotting that 11,300, 11,400. But if the bounce here fails, this is a very good spot to bounce. But if the bounce does indeed fail, then we are pushing into 11,400. As of now, not plotting that. As of right now, not plotting that. But that's the trajectory it needs to take. And the 50 on the monthly is sitting at 10.5. And if you're lucky, we should get that. As of now, not plotting any of this thing. As of now, my base case to the downside is probably 11.8, and then if it breaches below that, then we'll reassess. To the upside,
Stars, the lowest pre-market was